Hello.
Hey, sorry.
You're good.
Uh, let's see. Am I back?
Yeah. Welcome back.
Oh,
Long time no see.
yeah. Sorry. Okay, I think I'm there. All right.
All
Can you
right.
hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
All right. We could just keep going from where we left off, I guess. How would you say if uh, how would you say your art relates to society if it does in any way?
I mean, I would say it does. I mean, definitely I'm influenced by society, people for sure. Definitely been a long time like uh people watcher, not like in a creepy way, but like
Yeah.
just like so I'm like people are trippy to me. Just I'm always like, if I'm in a crowded place, I'm just kind of watching the dynamics of people and how they interact, and that's long time been like definitely an inspiration for me. Like, um, but also I'm just like influenced by like, yeah, the world around me, like current events, like, you know, everything like that's happening all the time is kind of always like at play, especially in my heart. So, um, as far as like what it does, is that, or you just meant like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably that'd be it.
Because like in some songs I notice like you you tend to sort of tell a story, and sometimes like it seems like you're talking to someone in the whole narrative, you know. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of songs where either, yeah, it's from the perspective of, yeah, the narrator, even though it's not me per se. It's like sounds like I'm talking about myself, but
yeah,
yeah, I definitely try to especially a lot of my early songs are like more from the perspective of certain people that you know I you know saw around me or heard of or whatever, like that definitely influence certain things, certain songs. For sure, that's definitely the case. Yeah, but definitely like I don't know, some of my like my first two albums, like some of the lyrics are a little hard for me to listen to now just because it's hard to relate to, but because they do definitely come off as like kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but they're, I mean, it's just like the times too that they were created in were kind of like tumultuous, much like now. But um, yeah, I don't know. I definitely a lot of the stuff that I was listening to at the time was more like, you know, just kind of like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like, yeah, a lot of those early songs are kind of like, yeah, like I have a song called like Meth Lab, for example, like on my first album. That's for me, it's kind of hard to listen to because it's kind of gritty, but it's definitely much like you're saying, written from the perspective of, not for me, obviously. I never have done meth or had a meth lab or anything, but in the town that I live in, like meth was at the time that I wrote the song, meth was like a huge problem, and there was a lot of meth labs, and it was just very prevalent. And I was reading about it a lot in the newspaper and stuff, so it just kind of influenced that song. But definitely written the way I sing the song, it's pretty gritty, and it kind of comes off as like it's me saying these things or doing these things. But yeah, it's definitely much like I try to put myself in the heads of like some of these people that I hear about or read about, and kind of try to think what they would think or say or whatever. So yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's definitely, I would say it relates to society in that way too.
it's interesting. Yeah, I love the song Meth Lab. Honestly, I don't know
Oh,
if it's I don't know if it's the grittiness or just like the actual sound of the song, but it I think it's a nicely written song.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one that I actually, that album I was talking about that I made with the band that's coming out next year. We actually redid that one with the band, so I'm excited for it to come out. But it's yeah, so I kind of had to revisit that song recently, and so yeah, I've kind of come to terms with yeah that it's just it is what it is, and yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of songs that are not like totally just like obviously like political or social or whatever, but they have like they're about stuff that has like yeah, I'm thinking like Bob Dylan or Neil Young, or there's been a lot of songwriters that have done that, written songs like, or even like I'm thinking of like that song Ohio that where it's like the lyrics are very much about a specific historical thing, but it's like they could be like interpreted different ways. It's not like a super direct like you know statement or whatever. So that's definitely always been kind of like inspirational, or definitely been influenced by like that kind of those kind of songs. I guess they'd be considered like topical songs. I don't know, but something like that.
Yeah. Uh, how would you say your art sort of defines you, or how does it reflect off your personal identity?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like it is like my entire identity. I feel like, I mean, not to be kind of cliche or sound pretentious, but like I definitely have considered myself like well, it took me a while to realize like I mean, like I was saying, I've always been drawn to like being creative and art and stuff. So, but it took me a while to realize like I mean, I think for a long time I struggled with like, oh, I got to have like a career, and nothing against like, I mean, I have a job now, but like nothing against jobs. Or like in my head, I was like, oh, I got to have a job and a career and blah, blah, blah. But like art. And then one day I was just like, fuck it. Like art's, that's what I am. I'm an artist. Like that's what I know that's what I'm here to do, because it's like the moment I was, I can remember like that has always been like, had such a huge impact on me that like, I'm like, without a shadow of a doubt, it's like, and whether whatever that means, if it means I have to have a 9 to 5 and to be able to like support myself to like do art, like that's fine. I don't care, because like I just know it's who I am, is what I'm what I was put on this earth to do. So but yeah, I would say that's probably the, but I don't go around telling people like I'm an artist, but or I mean I would if someone asked me, but I wouldn't, try not to be too pretentious about it, like
Yeah.
I'm an artiste. But no, it's definitely like I would say the core of my identity and being.
Uh, I just recently found out you did or you I don't know if you like stopped. I assume not, but I just found out recently you do like visual art, like
Yeah,
the art pieces.
I do. Yeah, and it's kind of I've done like a couple art shows just like in my town that I live in. Um, so I guess in the art world, it's nothing to really like speak of, but I've done that, and then I do actually have like a website which like is connected like to my Instagram and stuff if people wanted to track it down. But basically, I have a lot of my pieces up there that people can check out. But yeah, and then I've done some of my like I've done a lot of my album covers as far as like putting those together, and also just like the art on them. So yeah, it's definitely been something that I've always kind of like loved doing. Like I started out like drawing and stuff, like comic books, was like super into that, and then got more into like painting, but just kind of realized I was never like a super good at painting, like the technique of painting. So now I just kind of like do like more like mixed media type stuff. But yeah, I just love making art. It's super fun. So a lot of times I kind of go, but I kind of get in like, uh, it's seasonal for me. Like I don't always do it, but then like I'll get super into it for like a time period, and then I'll kind of put it away for a while. So I'm kind of currently haven't done it in like probably like a couple years now, but I know I'll get back to it. I still have all my like art supplies, so I'm sure I'll be at
Okay.
some point reconnect with it.
Would you say any of your, I mean, art or music, would you say it like connects to any other sort of medium you would consume in any way, you know? Is there any relationship between your music and film, for example, or
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. yeah, I could talk all day about this. Is I love all this stuff. Yeah, I was definitely, and again, something that is also seasonal for me, but like there's a good chunk of my life where I was heavy into film and basically just tried to watch like every movie that I could find that was like made. Basically, like there was, kind of this was the time period more when there was still like video stores and so I would go to the video store and just like get like a stack of movies and just like obviously with the goal of watching all the like classics. And I mean, this was kind of like, and then when the Criterion collection came out, then it was just like, okay, finally someone has like, kind of grouped all these amazing movie films together. And so now you don't have to like scour through the video store looking for them. But yeah, I love film and it definitely like, just cause like with like my songs, I try to like, just like paint, I try to paint like create like imagery, and when people hear the lyrics, maybe that something conjure, kind of like much like you would like reading a book or something, like kind of having to like create the imagery. Um, and I just love like the imagery that like a lot of films have. So yeah, definitely film's been a huge influence as well as like literature too. I mean, I don't again like read. It's been a while since I really like read a lot, but I love literature, and there was a good period of my time where I read a lot of like, especially poetry, and then just like, you know, just like, well, I like a lot of famous like fiction, classic fiction, and so yeah. Nowadays I do more audiobooks, but I just still, yeah, I love literature is definitely an influence. Kind of just anything creative, like fashion, even like all of it, all the above, kind of influences me.
Uh, just to like sort of go off of that and off of what you said earlier in the interview, do you mentioned death a lot in your music and and stuff. Do you, would you say you sorry
No, it's a
would you say you I don't know, subscribe to any kind of like philosophies or sort of ways of thinking or any sort of ideas?
yeah. I was like raised religiously, so it's definitely kind of always been a part of my life, like in some regard. And definitely like I think again, like going back to imagery, I think a lot of the uh imagery of the Bible and like religion kind of plays into especially like my early work. Currently yeah, I'm definitely a spiritual person. These days I'm more into like uh kind of like self work and like meditation and these kind of things, like more kind of inner work, whatever that would be called. I mean, I consider it kind of all under the spirituality blanket, but I don't know. Like, if I had to really like, somebody was like, "What are you?" I would probably say agnostic, just because I lean towards more like I don't know really what you know. I don't know, but I'm not like ruling out that there is some kind of bigger force at play. Um, so yeah, I think yeah, but I would definitely consider myself a searcher. Like I'm searching for whatever I can find and whatever kind of like knowledge I can find as far as like, yeah, like the big kind of questions that we all face, like, well, why are we here? Where did we come from? Like, where are we going? You know, which seem to be the things that like no one can really answer, which or has ever been able to answer. But so I think like I definitely I'm always kind of searching for those answers, like where I can find them. So haven't really found the answer to those three questions, but I don't think many have. But
Yeah,
um, I don't know. Yeah, I'm always searching. So yeah.
that's nice. Would would you what, sorry,
No, no worries.
would you have any advice for like younger artists that you'd want to give out, given your experience?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I mean, kind of depends what you want to get. I mean, I know certain people that are super driven to like they're just going to be successful, like, and they know what they want and they just kind of go out and get it. And then, then there's like the longer road like I took. I mean, I think like the key is always just stay, as cliche as it might sound, stay true to yourself and um like believe in yourself, because a lot of times, I know for me personally, like early on there I didn't really have like a super strong support as far as like pushing me to like be creative things. And I think sometimes for whatever reason people don't have that either, and you really have to go inside yourself and believe in yourself and be like, okay, even if no one else believes in me, I believe in myself, and I think that's kind of the because without that I just don't think you'll be able to continue doing it if you don't believe in what you're doing. So I think that's kind of the main thing. And then, yeah, just staying true to what and taking risks and doing things that maybe like people are like, oh, are you sure, or whatever. Like do the things that make sense to you and call to you, and kind of like stay true to what because I think that's how any great artist, that we all admire, like that's how they did it. They just kind of, and that's the other thing is I think like don't try too hard. That's what I mean. I know that's a lot of these things are cliche, but uh, I think there is a point of trying too hard where you're just like, and I was that way for a long time where I just was trying too hard to like get people to like me, or get people to like my music or whatever it was. And that I was kind of missing that, like, usually a lot of, in a lot of cases, less is more. And like sometimes when you don't try, like that's when the best stuff happens, when you're just kind of like having fun and not really like trying to do anything, like especially like with recording, I feel like a lot of times like when I'm not like nitpicking and like all crazy, I'm able to just kind of capture a moment. And that's what recording's all about, I think. Like and so I think, yeah, in some cases, in a lot of cases with creating, don't try too hard, just kind of let it be natural and flow. And I think it all kind of, in some ways, like as a creative, I think like the art kind of makes itself, if you kind of get out of the way and just let it do its thing. I think it kind of, not to take away from the skill of being an artist or a musician, but I think if you just, yeah, that's the key, is just to kind of let it create itself if you can.
Mm.
But
Uh, and also, I saw your post on Instagram recently. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, do you have any future goals aside from like the trilogy albums? Do you have any future goals that you really wanted to accomplish in life?
Yeah, I mean, I still want to. And by my post, I presume you mean the one where I said I'm going to retire.
Yeah, yeah.
um yeah, and by that I meant, I mean, like I said, I think I'll always write, and I'm always gonna keep making albums, and I have already some more albums that I'm working on already. And but like with my thing, it was just kind of the for a long time, or for a while now, I've been kind of really pushing and trying to do the social media and all that stuff, and getting really, like the streaming and all that, like trying to like get noticed in this great big world of I mean, there's just a lot of stuff out there now, which is cool, but also it's harder to get noticed. So that's all I meant by that, is like I was gonna stop trying to do, I guess, again, I wasn't following my own advice, because I was saying don't try too hard. And I think I was trying too hard for a long time, just trying to, you know, get discovered, as like so many of us are. Um, but now I'm just like not gonna try. I'm just gonna be like, let things come to me, that are meant to come to me, and just kind of keep creating, keep making albums, keep playing shows if they make sense to play. I'll definitely keep playing shows, but I just didn't want to like try to book my own shows and stuff anymore. It just was too much kind of stress. But um trying to think, yeah, definitely my goal is definitely to be like successful to the point, and I don't mean like fame, I just mean like to the point where I can tour and like people come to the shows, whatever town we go to, and that I can put out records, whether it be on a label or my own label, but that, I can distribute them however music's being distributed. Cause I mean, I am doing that currently, but I feel like in some ways, especially with like streaming, like I'm kind of just like, it's a needle in a haystack, I mean, there's so much music out there. And if you're not like a big artist, in a lot of cases, you're not getting heard really. So as long as I could get my music out there to the world and tour and do it legitimate, that's kind of my goal, that's when I say success, that's kind of what I mean is like not even financial, just like being able to do it to the, point where it's like it is my job essentially. So that's my to get there. And I'm hoping it's achievable, but yeah, I mean, it's just so kind of, I mean, the whole world is so tumultuous right now, but like, especially with like, yeah, there's all this stuff going on with Bandcamp and like the streaming stuff's kind of a nightmare too. So, but I mean, I know it's going to get good again. It's just right now, it's just kind of weird, but I'm hoping that once again, music is, because I know everybody loves music and everybody loves making music and putting it out, and it's just we all kind of need a platform to be able to do that. So it's gonna happen. Eventually there'll be another way people are getting music. So we'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I like that definition of success, not really worrying about the financial aspect of it, more just like, being able to express yourself and, be happy.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Uh, and final question, kind of less serious and, yeah, big. Do you have anything you wanted to? Do you have any like interesting experiences working in collaborative projects, like with, like you said, hella solos, or for example, Paranormal Attitude, the album you did with, it's out of my head. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Oh, it was like the three piece with the cello and the electric
Yeah,
guitar.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was that. Yeah, you picked a good one. That was a really fun, amazing record to make. We made that in an old, uh, like convent that was like orphanage building that's in the town that I live in. That's from like the 1800s, and it's like so it's basically like a big hall, like a church hall almost, and really like kind of whether or not you believe in this sort of thing, but kind of definitely haunted vibes there. Very old, kind of rustic building, but so we recorded it essentially live for the most part in that building, and there was and we essentially set up like kind of stereo where the cello player, I was in the middle, cello player, and then electric guitar, a guitarist on the other side. So yeah, that album was a lot of fun to make. Um, and that I in, the cellist was my friend Luke Janella, who's an amazing songwriter himself and just like an insane musician. But I've had the pleasure of working with from that experience. He's been on a couple of my other albums as well. So I feel like that was a really great connection to make in my musical life, just because, yeah, the cello is such an amazing instrument to have on my music. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, yes, I can't. I feel so stoked to know someone who plays it so beautifully. So yeah, that was a great fun album, and probably one of, if not the funnest album I ever made. Really, I would say.
Yeah, personally, I think it's one of my favorites as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that one was, again, that was one of the ones where, yeah, I didn't try too hard on that one because um yeah, because it wasn't like the one before that, Shapeshifter, came out on a label and stuff, and like did some touring with that one, and it was like more of like a push to kind of like put it out. But Paranormal Attitude, there was like, I just had the songs and we had the idea of like how to record it with the three of us, and just like, let's do this. So it was definitely coming from a very like natural, organic place. Like, you know, we had no label for it or anything. It wasn't like a uh there was no push to do it. It was just kind of like, let's do this. And so those are always the best ones, I think, because there's no like stress, or you're just doing it for the pure love of doing it. But as far as like an interesting, I don't know, can't think of any off the top of my head that are. I always love working with people though, because yeah, it's always. Um, and then like I have two albums now with the band, this band Pharaoh and the Peach Sleeves that live in the town that I live in. We have an album that came out last year, which is my songs done up with the band, and then we have another one coming out next year. But anyways, that's cool too. Just like, because I always wanted to have a band even early on, but I just never could get it together, and so it's been really cool working with a band with my own songs that I've always kind of performed by myself. It's cool to actually translate them into within the band format. Is really cool. So it's definitely been a good one for me.
Well, that was great.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah. So I haven't done many interviews in my life actually, but so this has been one of the better ones that I've done for sure. Just really
Yeah.
easy to talk and stuff. So I
Um,
appreciate you thinking of me because yeah, that's awesome. That stokes me out.
yeah. Yeah, I've been a pretty big fan of yours for a while. You know, I discovered you a few years back. I heard the Hella record. You
Okay.
know, probably as you'd imagine, but yeah, I heard the vocals and I was like, dang, who is that? so
Nice.
so
That's so fair. Yeah, a lot of that at that time it was kind of a mixed reviews as far as the vocals. Some people hated it, some people liked it, but I'm stoked to hear you liked it.
so I kind of dove into that whole rabbit hole and found all of your music and thought it was freaking great. It was kind of like my actual introduction to like bluesy stuff too, which is sort of something I steered away from for some reason.
It has a lot of cheesy, I mean, I guess a lot of styles do, but like
Yeah,
for some his music, there's just a lot of like cringy, cheesy stuff in there.
yeah,
That was I'm the same too, and there's still to this day, I'm like so much stuff that as soon as I hear it, I'm like, turn it off. Like it's too terrible. Um, you know, unfortunately, most of it happens to be, made by white people, but that's a different subject. But um, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I got super into the blues for a long time, and like especially like the like really old stuff, and like, oh man, it's just so like power. It's just powerful music. It's spiritual, but also like, again, dealing with all these like death and rebirth, all these same like questions. But I don't know. Yeah, and it's just the way it's influenced so much music that we all love has been like, you can trace it back to like blues music and roots music. It's like, I don't know, it's just potent.
yeah.
But yeah.
Love that stuff.
Yeah, so good, so good.
Yeah.
Some people that oh, sorry,
Huh?
are you still running the tape? I didn't want to, is this fucking with your interview?
No, no, this is fine.
Sorry, man.
No, you can keep
First,
going.
what is some people that you like in the blues world?
Uh, I kind of listen to a bit of like Bob Dylan, but I don't know. It's more specifically like you. Uh,
Nice.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, I just sort of I sort of see a lot more inspiration from like artists I already listen to. You know, it's like, oh wow, that really did get it really did come from the blues, and you know, it's very interesting. You know, it's just pouring your heart and soul out into music. You know,
Yeah,
and
no, you're right. Essentially describes the music, even like what the original creators of blues music would say. That's what it is. Yeah, it's exactly that.
yeah,
I think, yeah, like you're right. Bob Dylan did it well as well, where he was able to kind of create his own sound from it. But like, yeah, he started off definitely hugely influenced by the blues. So yeah, it's definitely it's a good yeah, so much good stuff there. And it just yeah, and then yeah, I mean, I think obviously then when you kind of like get into blues, then you kind of get into country, which is like that same thing. A lot of the early country music has that same thing where it's very personal, very like a lot of sad songs, but like yeah, very personal and like I don't know, deep. Like that's the stuff that really kind of shakes you to your core because you're just like whoa. And a lot of all with that stuff too. I feel like the authentic stuff, like those people, those songwriters actually lived that stuff. That was their lives, which is like I've always tried to do that too. Where it's just like even if it's fabricated, it's still like coming from like my life. And so yeah, you know, I don't know, but yeah, I
but
like your mic cover there too. That's cool.
oh yeah, but
Is that a Christmas tree or oh no, it's just green.
yeah, it's my mom crocheted it for me because I needed a
Oh,
pop filter, and she was just like, "Oh, I can make you one."
cool. That's so cool.
Yeah,
I like awesome.
but yeah, I
That that's a cool music room you got there.
yeah, years of collecting birthday money and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Professionalism aside and all that, I just wanted to say you're like a huge inspiration, like not only musically but like through your lyrics and stuff. You know, I sort of like was able to think more to myself too, you know, and sort of acknowledge my own thinking, you know, and I don't know. It's kind of like that whole, you know, psychedelic trope, you know, of the whole like third eye opening. I guess I don't know how to describe it, but I love your stuff. It's super far out and inspiring.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot, yeah, because I'm same boat. I mean, that's the stuff that makes me happy to know that I was able to do that for someone else because definitely had kind of was looking for the same experiences my whole life too. So it's definitely um, you know, it stokes me out to know that I've done that for someone else because yeah, like I said, I've always kind of been looking for that same stuff and there's been people that did it for me. So it's cool. That thanks for saying that, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for making art.
Yeah, man, I'll never stop. I mean, yeah, I mean, some people are giving me a hard time about my posts. Not too many people, but not just joking, but like,
Yeah.
did you do that out of frustration? And it's like, no, not really. It's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I guess I am frustrated in some ways, but I'll never stop creating. And just because, like, it's just so part of what I do, but I'll keep putting stuff out. I know it's just kind of a matter of timing and just kind of waiting, riding it out, seeing how things go, seeing what the next year brings as far as like, yeah, different. what's going to be the platforms that we can put music out on, and who knows, it might be something totally new. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely don't plan on going anywhere. So I'll still be here.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, it's been a bit over an hour. I don't want to keep holding you.
No, this has been great. I
Yeah.
didn't even realize what time it was. It's been great.
But yeah.